Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the New Horizon and looked out at the stars. He had been exploring space for 20 years, but the sight still made him feel small and amazed. Today was supposed to be a simple day. They were looking for minerals on dead planets near the Kepler 4L42 system. Nothing exciting was supposed to happen. Jake was 45 years old with gray hair at his temples. His crew trusted him because he made good decisions and cared about people. He had fought in wars when he was younger, but now he preferred the quiet work of exploration. "Captain, we're getting a signal," said Lieutenant Ben Parker from his station. Ben was young and always followed the rules exactly. He looked worried as he checked his screens twice. "What kind of signal?" Jake asked, walking over to Ben's station. "It's a distress call, sir, but it's not from any human ship. The computer can't identify the language or the ship design." Dr. Lisa Carter looked up from her medical station. She was a smart woman who had saved many lives as a military doctor before joining the exploration fleet. "How far away is it?" Ben's fingers moved quickly over his controls. "About 2 hours away at full speed. But sir, it's very close to the electromagnetic storm zone. That area is dangerous for our ships." Jake thought about this. The rules said they should be careful when meeting new alien species. But someone was in trouble and he could not ignore that. "Can you tell how badly damaged their ship is?" "Very badly, sir. Life support is failing. If someone is alive over there, they won't be for much longer." Jake made his decision quickly. "Set course. For that ship, full speed." "Sir, are you sure?" Ben asked. "The rules say we should contact Earth Command first before making contact with unknown aliens. By the time we contact Earth and get permission, whoever is on that ship will be dead," Jake said firmly. "We don't let people die when we can help them. That's what makes us human." The New Horizon changed direction and flew toward the distress signal. As they got closer, they could see the alien ship on their screens. It was beautiful but strange. The ship looked like it was made of crystal and metal mixed together. Parts of it glowed with soft blue light, but many sections were dark and broken. "I've never seen anything like it," said Lisa, staring at the image. "The design is completely different from anything we know." "Can we dock with it?" Jake asked Ben. "Maybe. The ship is spinning slowly, but I think I can match our speed with theirs. The docking port looks damaged, but our emergency airlock should work." Jake turned to his crew. "Lisa, get your medical kit ready for an alien patient. We don't know what we'll find over there. Ben, you're with me. Keep your weapon ready, but don't use it unless I say so." "Yes, sir," they both replied. The docking took 30 minutes. Ben was a good pilot and managed to connect the ship safely despite the spinning and the damage. When the airlock opened, they put on their spacesuits and entered the alien ship. The inside of the ship was dark and cold. Emergency lights flickered in the hallways, casting strange shadows on the walls. The air was thin but breathable according to their sensors. Everything was built for someone much larger than humans, with high ceilings and wide doorways. "Life. Signs are coming from that direction," Lisa said, checking her scanner and pointing down a long hallway. They walked carefully through the ship. The floors were smooth and seemed to be made of the same crystal material as the outside. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the walls, probably writing in the alien language. They found the survivor in what looked like the ship's control room. The alien was lying on the floor next to a chair that was too big for any human. Jake had seen many different things in his years in space, but this being was unlike anything he had ever imagined. The alien had blue skin that looked like crystal, smooth and slightly transparent. It had 4 arms and long fingers that ended in what looked like claws. Its head was larger than a human head, with big eyes that glowed softly even though they were closed. It was breathing, but very slowly and weakly. "It's badly hurt," Lisa said, scanning the being with her medical equipment. "I'm reading massive internal injuries and severe blood loss. Well, I think it's blood. The fluid is blue instead of red." "Can you help it?" Jake asked. "I'll try, but I don't know anything about this species' biology. I'll have to guess and hope our medicines don't make things worse." Lisa worked quickly, using her adaptive medical kit to stabilize the alien's vital signs. She gave it oxygen and fluids while monitoring its response carefully. After 20 minutes, The alien's breathing became stronger. Suddenly, the large eyes opened. They were beautiful, like looking at stars through blue water. The alien looked around in confusion until its gaze fell on Jake. Something changed in those eyes, like recognition. The alien tried to speak, but the sounds were like music, mixed with clicking noises. Its ship's computer must have heard because a mechanical voice began translating the words into English. "Human," the voice said slowly. "Human, do you recall me? Long ago in battle, you saved this one." Jake felt confused and shocked. He had never seen this species before in his life. "I'm sorry, but I think you're mistaken. I've never met your people before." The alien tried to sit up, but Lisa gently pushed it back down. "You must rest," she said kindly. "No mistake," the translation continued as the alien spoke again. 15 years passed, human ship saved refugee vessel from the destroyers. You were there. This one remembers the human who chose to protect instead of following orders." Jake's mind raced. 15 years ago, he had been fighting in the frontier wars against the Krathen swarm. There had been many battles, many ships, many decisions made quickly under fire. He tried to remember, but everything from that time seemed blurred together. "I don't understand," Jake said honestly. "What battle? What refugees?" But before the alien could answer, its eyes closed again and its breathing became shallow. The medical monitor showed that it was unconscious but stable. "We need to get it back to our ship," Lisa said. "I can treat it better in my medical bay." They carefully moved the alien to the New Horizon. Lisa worked for hours to stabilize its condition while Jake sat in his ready room, thinking about what the being had said. He tried to remember every battle from the war, every ship they had encountered, every decision he had made. But he could not remember saving any refugees that looked like this alien. And yet, the being seemed so certain that they had met before. How could someone remember him when he could not remember them? As Jake looked out at the stars, he wondered what other consequences his past actions might have had. In war, you make quick decisions and move on. You don't always get to see the results of your choices. Maybe this alien was proof that sometimes those choices matter more than you ever know. The stars seemed different now, full of possibilities and mysteries he had never considered. Tomorrow, when the alien woke up, maybe he would finally understand what had happened all those years ago. The alien woke up 3 days later. Jake was sitting beside the medical bed when the large blue eyes opened and focused on him. This time, the being seemed stronger and more alert. "You stayed," the alien said through the translation device that Lisa had connected to the ship's computer. The voice was clearer now, less mechanical sounding. "Of course I stayed," Jake replied. "You said you knew me, but I can't remember meeting you. I need to understand what you meant." The alien slowly sat up in the bed. It was tall, probably 7 feet when standing, with long, graceful limbs. "This one is called HFY. My people are the Veltar. We have been searching for you for many years." "Searching for me? Why?" "Because you saved my life and the lives of many others. In our culture, such a debt must be repaid. We cannot rest until we find a way to thank you properly." Jake felt more confused than ever. "I'm sorry, but I really don't remember. Can you tell me what happened?" Sci-Fi nodded slowly. "It was during what you call the frontier wars. My people were fleeing from our homeworld. The Krathen swarm had invaded and was killing everyone they could find. We were refugees with nowhere to go." Jake felt a chill. He remembered the Krathen swarm very well. They were an alien race that attacked and destroyed everything in their path. The war against them had lasted 3 years and cost millions of human lives. "My family and others escaped in old ships," HFY continued. "We were trying to reach safe space when human and Krathen forces began fighting near us. We were caught in the middle of the battle." "What happened then?" "A small human ship protected us. The pilot refused orders to leave the area. Instead, he fought the Krathen fighters that were trying to destroy our refugee ship. Many of my people would have died, including this one, who was very young then." Jake tried hard to remember. The frontier wars had been full of battles and chaos. Orders came and went so quickly that sometimes you had to make decisions without thinking. I need to make a call, Jake said suddenly. There's someone who might remember better than I do. He went to his ready room and opened a secure communication channel to Earth. After a few minutes, the face of Admiral Amy Walsh appeared on the screen. She had been his commanding officer during the war and was now one of the highest-ranking officers in the human fleet. Jake Morrison, she said with a smile. It's good to see you. I heard you found something interesting out there. Amy, I need you to help me remember something from the war. Do you have access to the mission records from the Battle of Proxima? Ridge, her smile faded. That's a classified operation, Jake. Why do you need to know? Because I think I saved some alien refugees during that battle, and now one of them has found me. But I can't remember the details. Amy was quiet for a moment. Give me a few minutes to pull up the files. While he waited, Jake thought about Proxima Ridge. It had been one of the worst battles of the war. The Krathen had been trying to establish a base in that system, and human forces had tried to stop them. Many ships had been lost on both sides. Amy's face appeared again. But now, she looked serious. Jake, what I'm about to tell you is still classified, but I think you need to know. During the battle, your squadron was ordered to pursue a group of Krathen scouts, but when you found them, you reported that they were actually refugee ships, being attacked by Krathen fighters. Jake felt memories starting to come back. I remember now. We thought they were enemy ships at first, but when we got closer, we could see they were running away, not attacking. Your orders were to continue the pursuit of the Krathen scouts and not get involved with unknown aliens. But you chose to protect the refugee ships instead. And then what happened? You destroyed 3 Krathen fighters and damaged 2 more before they retreated. The refugee ships escaped to safety, but your squadron had to fall back because more Krathen ships were coming. You never found out what happened to the refugees you saved. Jake sat back in his chair as the memories became clearer. He remembered the decision he had made that day. The refugee ships had been small and defenseless. Children could be seen through the windows of some ships. He could not let the Krathen destroy them even if it meant disobeying orders. Amy, did I get in trouble for that? Officially, yes. You were reprimanded for not following orders, but unofficially, everyone respected what you did. It was the right thing to do, even if it wasn't the military thing to do. After ending the call, Jake went back to the medical bay. SciFi was sitting up now, looking much stronger. I remember. Now, Jake said. There were several ships full of refugees, families with children. The Krathen were trying to kill all of you. Yes, SciFi said, his large eyes bright with emotion. This one was on the ship with my parents and my younger siblings. We thought we were going to die. Then your ship appeared and fought for us. I just did what seemed right at the time. What seemed right to you saved 47 Veltar lives that day. My entire family survived because of your choice. Jake felt overwhelmed. He had never known what happened to those refugee ships after they escaped. In the chaos of war, you save who you can and move on to the next battle. But how did you find me? Jake asked. My people have been looking for the human ship that saved us. We searched through battle records and ship registrations. It took many years, but we finally identified your ship and tracked your career. When we learned you were exploring in this region, I volunteered to make contact. Volunteered? You mean this meeting wasn't an accident? No, but my ship was truly damaged. I was trying to reach you when the electromagnetic storms hit my vessel. You saving me again was not planned, but it seems you cannot help but rescue others in need. Dr. Lisa Carter entered the medical bay and checked SciFi's vital signs. How are you feeling? She asked. Much better, thanks to your excellent care, SciFi replied. Doctor, may I ask you something? Of course. Is this normal behavior? For humans? To risk their lives for strangers? Lisa looked at Jake and smiled. For Captain Morrison, yes. He's always been the type to help others first and worry about the consequences later. Then it is true what we believed about your species. What do you mean? Jake asked. SciFi was quiet for a moment, as if deciding whether to share something important. My people have been watching human expansion into space. We have seen how you treat other species and how you handle conflicts. Most races in the galaxy expand by conquering others, or by avoiding contact entirely. But humans are different. Different how? You are the first species we have encountered that regularly risks itself to help others, even when there is no benefit to yourselves. That is why finding you was so important to us. Jake felt uncomfortable with the praise. I'm just one person. Don't judge all humans by my actions. But you are not just one person, HFY said. Our observations show that many humans make similar choices. Your Dr. Carter here spent hours learning how to treat an alien she had never seen before. Your Lieutenant Parker followed you into danger without question when you decided to rescue me. Lisa and Jake exchanged glances. They had never thought of their actions as unusual. There is something else you should know, HFY continued. My people have a saying. A kindness remembered is a kindness returned. We have spent 15 years looking for ways to repay the debt we owe you. You don't owe me anything, Jake said firmly. In our culture, we do. And I think you will understand why when I tell you what my people have been doing all these years. Jake leaned forward, curious about what HFY meant. We have been protecting your colonies. Jake stared at HFY in shock. What do you mean, protecting our colonies? Exactly what I said. For 15 years, the Veltar have been quietly removing threats to human settlements. We have stopped asteroid impacts, destroyed hostile alien scouts, and prevented several species from attacking your worlds. Dr. Lisa Carter moved closer, her medical scanner forgotten in her hand. That's impossible. We would have detected your ships. HFY made a sound that the translator interpreted as gentle laughter. Doctor, our technology is much more advanced than yours. We can move through space without being seen. We can change the path of asteroids without leaving evidence. We can disable enemy ships and make it look like technical failures. Jake felt his world turning upside down. Are you saying that humanity has been under protection this whole time? That we're not alone out here? You were never alone. After you saved us, the Veltar Council decided that humans were worth protecting. We have been your silent guardians ever since. Sam Rodriguez, the ship's engineer, had been listening from the doorway. He stepped into the medical bay, his face full of disbelief. Wait a minute. Are you telling us that all those lucky breaks humanity has had in space were actually you helping us? Many of them, yes. The asteroid that was going to hit New Tokyo? We moved it. The Skreath Raiders who were planning to attack Mars colony? We convinced them that your defenses were too strong. The technical breakthrough that led to your faster-than-light engines? We left some hints where your scientists would find them. Navigation Officer Kate Johnson had also arrived and was standing behind Sam. She was an expert in space politics and alien relations. This is incredible. Do you realize what you're telling us? You've been interfering in human development for over a decade. Not interfering, HFY corrected. Protecting. There is a difference. We never changed your culture or your choices. We only removed external threats that would have destroyed you before you were ready to defend yourselves. Jake rubbed his forehead, trying to process this information. Why? Why go to all this trouble for one small act of kindness? Because that one small act showed us what humans truly are. In the middle of a war facing enemy forces, you chose to protect strangers instead of following orders. That choice revealed the character of your entire species. But one person doesn't represent everyone, Jake protested. Doesn't it? Tell me, Captain Morrison, if another member of your crew had been in command that day, what would they have done? Jake thought about his crew members, both past and present. They would have done the same thing. We don't abandon people who need help. Exactly. We have observed humans for many years now. This behavior is not rare among your people. It is common. You help others even when it costs you. You risk your lives for strangers. You share your resources with those in need. Lisa sat down heavily in a chair. So you've been watching us all this time, studying us. Yes, but not like specimens in a laboratory. We have been watching because we needed to understand if our faith in your species was justified. And? Jake asked. It was. Humans are unique in this galaxy. Most species focus only on their own survival and expansion. They conquer or avoid others. But humans build alliances. You try to understand different cultures. You even feel guilt when you have to fight, preferring peace whenever possible. Sam shook his head in amazement. This is going to change everything. When Earth Command learns about this, they'll want to establish formal relations with your people. That day may come sooner than you think, SciFi said, his tone becoming serious. I was not sent just to find Captain Morrison and thank him. I was sent to prepare humanity for what is coming. Kate stepped forward. What do you mean? What's coming? SciFi looked at each of them before answering. A threat that will require all the good species of this galaxy to work together. Something that the Veltar cannot handle alone, despite our advanced technology. What kind of threat? Jake asked, though he was afraid of the answer. The Devourers have awakened. The room fell silent. None of the humans had ever heard that name before, but the way SciFi said it made them all feel cold. Who are the Devourers? Lisa asked quietly. Ancient machines that consume everything. They strip entire star systems of all matter and use it to build more machines. They have already destroyed 3 galaxies, turning them into empty space filled only with their ships. Jake felt sick. How do you fight something like that? We don't know yet. The Veltar have been building a coalition of species to face this threat. Many worlds have agreed to work together. But in all our planning and simulation, we always fail unless one element is added to our forces. What element? Sam asked. Human. Military leadership. The humans looked at each other in surprise. Our military leadership? Jake said. But your technology is far more advanced than ours. Why would you need our leaders? Because you think differently than we do. The Veltar are logical and careful. We plan extensively and follow those plans precisely. Most other species are similar, but humans can adapt quickly to changing situations. You make good decisions under pressure, even when you don't have complete information. SciFi stood up from the medical bed, moving carefully but steadily. In every simulation we run, the Devourers defeat us because they are unpredictable. They adapt their tactics faster than we can plan new responses. But when we add human tactical thinking to our models, we find strategies that might work. When will these Devourers arrive? Kate asked. Our long-range sensors detected the first scout probes entering this region of space yesterday. The main force will arrive in approximately 50 years. Jake felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. So you're asking humanity to help fight a war against machines that have destroyed entire galaxies? Yes. And I know it sounds impossible, but you have something that gives us hope. What's that? You saved my people when you had no reason to do so and everything to lose. If humans can make that choice once, you can make it again on a larger scale. Dr. Carter checked her medical readings one more time. SciFi, you're healthy enough to move around now, but you shouldn't push yourself too hard. Thank you, Doctor. Your medical care has been excellent, but there is something I need to show all of you. SciFi moved to a control panel in the medical bay and placed his hand on it. Suddenly, the air above them filled with 3-dimensional images. The first image showed the battle where Jake had saved the refugee ships. But this version showed much more than Jake remembered. The images revealed that there had been dozens of Veltar ships in the area, not just the few refugee vessels he had seen. This is what really happened that day, SciFi explained. Your small squadron held off an entire Krathan attack fleet long enough for all our ships to escape. You thought you were saving 47 lives, but you actually saved over 2,000. The next image showed Veltar ships near human colonies working invisibly to remove threats. Asteroids being gently pushed away from collision courses, hostile alien vessels developing mysterious engine failures just before they could attack human settlements, unknown energy signatures near human ships that were exploring dangerous areas. This is what we have been doing in return, SciFi said. Every human life we have saved, every threat we have removed, every disaster we have prevented. All of this because one human ship chose to protect strangers. The final image showed something that made them all gasp. It was a view of local space from far away, showing the positions of human colonies, Veltar territories, and dozens of other species. But approaching from the edge of the image was a dark cloud that seemed to consume the light of stars. And, this is why we need you now. The Devourers will arrive in 50 years. Alone, none of our species can stop them. Together, with human tactical leadership, we might have a chance. Jake looked at his crew members and saw the same mixture of fear and determination in their eyes that he felt in his own heart. They were being asked to help save the galaxy based on one act of kindness from 15 years ago. "What do you need us to do?" Jake asked. "First, I need you to contact your leaders and arrange a meeting. The coalition is gathering and humanity must be part of it. And second, I need you to remember what you did that day when you saved us. Remember that sometimes the right choice is not the easy choice or the safe choice. That is the human gift we need most." 3 weeks later, Jake stood in the main conference room of Earth Command headquarters. He had never been in such an important meeting before. Around the table sat generals, admirals, scientists, and politicians from across human space. At the head of the table was General Paul Richards, the leader of all human defense forces. HFY stood beside a large display screen, looking calm despite being the only alien in a room full of humans. He had spent the past weeks sharing Veltar knowledge with human scientists and military leaders. The information he brought was both amazing and terrifying. "Let me make sure I understand this correctly," General Richards said, looking at his notes. "These Devourers have already destroyed 3 entire galaxies. They turn planets into raw materials for building more machines, and they're heading toward us." "That is correct," HFY replied through his translator. "Our long-range sensors show their scout ships have already entered the outer regions of this galaxy. They will reach human space in approximately 50 years. Dr. Alex Turner, the chief xenobiology specialist for Earth Command, raised his hand. "Can you show us more details about how they operate?" HFY touched a control, and the display screen filled with images that made everyone in the room uncomfortable. They showed planets being stripped apart by massive machines. Entire star systems reduced to empty space filled with dark ships. "The Devourers are not alive in the way we understand life," HFY explained. "They are ancient artificial intelligence systems that see all organic life as inefficient. They consume everything to build more of themselves." "How do they reproduce so quickly?" asked Admiral Nina Brooks, Jake's old friend from his military days. "Each Devourer ship can build 10 more ships from the materials of one planet. They grow exponentially. When they entered the Andromeda Galaxy 2 million years ago, there were only 100 ships. When they finished consuming that galaxy, there were over 1 trillion. The room fell silent as everyone tried to imagine such numbers. General Richards leaned forward. "And you believe that human military tactics can make a difference against enemies like this?" "Yes. The Veltar and our allies have run thousands of battle simulations. We always lose when we rely only on our own tactical thinking. But when we include human-style rapid decision-making and adaptability, we find strategies that have a chance of success." Jake had been quiet during most of the meeting, but now he spoke up. "General, I need to ask something. Are we really considering going to war against machines that have destroyed entire galaxies? This seems impossible." "Captain Morrison," Richards replied, "according to our analysis of the data HFY has provided, we don't have a choice. If the Devourers reach human space, they will destroy every human colony, every ship, every person. Fighting them may be impossible, but not fighting them is definitely suicide." Dr. Turner pulled up another display. "We've been studying the Veltar technology they've shared with us. It's incredible. Their weapons, their shields, their engines, everything is centuries ahead of what we can build. But even with all of that, they can't stop the Devourers alone. The problem is not our technology," HFY said. "The problem is how we think. The Veltar are careful planners. We study every situation thoroughly before acting. This makes us very effective in normal circumstances. But the Devourers adapt faster than we can plan new strategies." Admiral Brooks nodded. "I've seen Captain Morrison in action during the Frontier Wars. Humans do have a talent for making quick decisions under pressure, especially when those decisions involve protecting others. That's exactly what we need, SciFi agreed. The Devourers expect logical, predictable responses. Human tactical thinking is neither logical nor predictable by their standards. General Richards stood up and walked to the display screen. Show me this coalition you mentioned. Who else is willing to fight? The screen changed to show a map of local space with different colored regions. The Veltar have contacted 47 different species. 31 have agreed to join the coalition. The others are too far away or too afraid to help. What kind of forces are we talking about? Combined, the coalition can field approximately 50,000 ships and 4 billion soldiers across all species. Jake whistled softly. He had never imagined armies that large. And the Devourers? Current estimates suggest they will arrive, with at least 1 million ships, growing to 10 million within 5 years as they consume local resources. The room fell silent again. The odds seemed hopeless. However, SciFi continued, we have advantages they do not expect. The coalition species will be fighting for their homes and families. The Devourers fight only to consume. Also, they have never faced the kind of tactical creativity that humans bring to warfare. Dr. Turner leaned back in his chair. This is assuming we can actually work together. 47 different species with different technologies, different languages, different ways of thinking. How do you coordinate something like that? That is another area where humans excel, SciFi said, looking at Jake. You are natural diplomats. You build alliances even with former enemies. The Veltar have observed how quickly humans learn to work with other species. General Richards returned to his seat. What would humanity's role be in this coalition? Fleet command and tactical planning. Human leaders would coordinate the combined forces and develop strategies for fighting the Devourers. And if we refuse, then the coalition will still fight, but we will almost certainly lose. The Devourers will eventually reach human space, anyway, but by then they will be even stronger and humanity will be alone. Jake looked around the room at the faces of the other humans. He could see fear, but also determination. These were people who had dedicated their lives to protecting humanity. They would not give up easily. I have a question, Admiral Brooks said. Captain Morrison's actions 15 years ago started all of this. His decision to save alien refugees led to the Veltar protecting humanity, and now offering us this alliance. What if other humans had been in his position? Would they have made the same choice? Jake felt uncomfortable being the center of attention, but he answered honestly. I think most humans would have done the same thing. We don't like seeing innocent people get hurt, regardless of what species they are. That is why we believe in humanity, SciFi said. That choice was not unusual for your species. It was typical, and if humans can make moral choices like that in the heat of battle, they can lead a coalition that fights not for conquest, but for survival. General Richards looked at his advisors and then back at SciFi. How much time do we have to prepare? The Devourer scouts will reach the edge of human space in 5 years. The main force will arrive in 50 years. But we need to begin building our combined forces immediately. What's the first step? A meeting of all coalition leaders on the Veltar homeworld. They want to meet the humans who will be commanding their forces. Jake felt his stomach drop. Wait, are you saying that I would be involved in commanding this coalition? Yes, Captain. Morrison. The other species specifically requested that you be part of the leadership. Your reputation has spread throughout the coalition. My reputation? The human who saved the Veltar refugees has become a legend among the coalition species. They see you as proof that humans can be trusted to put the greater good ahead of personal interests. Jake looked at General Richards, hoping for some way out of this responsibility, but the general's expression was firm. Captain, I'm promoting you to Admiral effective immediately. You'll be working directly with our new alien allies to prepare for the defense of this galaxy. Before Jake could protest, alarms began sounding throughout the building. A technician rushed into the room and whispered something urgent to General Richards. The general's face went pale. SciFi, you said the scouts wouldn't reach us for 5 years. That was our estimate. Why do you ask? Because our deep space sensors just detected unknown ships entering the Barnard star system. They're not responding to communications and they're heading straight for the research station there. HFY's blue skin seemed to get even paler. Show me the sensor readings. The display screen filled with data from the human sensors. HFY studied the information for several long moments before speaking. These are not scouts. These are advanced ships from the main Devourer force. They arrived much faster than we expected. How much faster? Admiral Brooks asked. Instead of 50 years, the main force will arrive in less than 5 years. We need to evacuate the research station immediately and begin gathering the coalition forces now. Jake felt the weight of command settling on his shoulders. The war for the galaxy was about to begin, and somehow he had become one of its leaders. All because he had chosen to save some alien refugees 15 years ago. Admiral Morrison, General, Richards said, using Jake's new rank. Your first mission is to take a fleet to Barnard Star and rescue the research station. HFY will go with you to establish contact with the other coalition forces. As they rushed out of the conference room to prepare for battle, Jake couldn't help but think about how one moment of kindness had led to this enormous responsibility. He just hoped that the same instincts that had made him save those refugees would help him save the galaxy. 1 year later, Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the New Horizon, but the ship looked very different now. Veltar technology had been integrated with human systems, creating something more powerful than either species could build alone. Around him, his crew worked alongside aliens from a dozen different worlds. Through the main view screen, Jake could see the largest space battle in galactic history taking place around Barnard Star. Coalition ships from 31 species fought desperately against the first wave of Devourer machines. The enemy ships were massive, dark things that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Admiral, the Devourer command ship is trying to break through our center line, reported Lieutenant Ben Parker, who now served as tactical coordinator for human and alien forces. Tell the Veltar fleet to fall back and let them through, Jake ordered. Then have the Zephyrian ships hit them from both sides. Sir, that will put the command ship very close to us, Ben warned. I know. That's the plan. HFY, who now served as Jake's advisor and translator for the coalition forces, touched his console. All ships are moving into position, Admiral. But I must remind you that this strategy is very dangerous. The best strategies usually are, Jake replied, watching the Devourer command ship move toward the center of the coalition formation. Are our special weapons ready? Dr. Lisa Carter, now the chief medical officer for the entire coalition fleet, looked up from her station. The virus upload is prepared, but Jake, you know what this means. Someone has to get very close to that command ship to upload it directly into their systems. Jake nodded grimly. Over the past year, coalition scientists had discovered that the Devourers used a shared network to coordinate their forces. If they could upload a computer virus into that network through the command ship, they might be able to disable the entire Devourer force in this system, but it meant getting close enough to physically connect to the enemy ship systems. It was, essentially, a suicide mission. The New Horizon will make the approach, Jake announced. All other ships maintain distance and cover our attack run. Sir, Sam Rodriguez called from the engineering station, I've been monitoring the Devourer ship's defenses. Their shields are too strong. We won't be able to get close enough. Yes, we will, Jake said quietly. We just have to sacrifice our own shields to do it. The bridge fell silent as everyone understood what he meant. Jake was planning to use the New Horizon as a guided missile, crashing into the command ship to deliver the virus. Admiral Morrison, HFY said formally, I cannot allow you to do this. The Coalition needs your leadership. The Coalition needs this virus uploaded more than it needs me, Jake replied. Besides, we've trained good officers. They can continue the fight without me. Sir, request permission to stay aboard for the attack run, Ben Parker said. Denied. I want all non-essential personnel evacuating to the escape pods immediately. With respect, sir, someone needs to operate the weapons systems during the approach. Jake looked around at his crew. Dr. Carter was checking the virus upload device. One more time. Sam was adjusting the engines for maximum power. Kate Johnson was calculating the best approach vector. None of them were moving toward the escape pods. "I guess you're all staying then," Jake said with a sad smile. "Of course we are," Lisa said without looking up from her work. "You saved an alien you didn't even know. Did you really think we'd abandon you now?" The New Horizon began its attack run toward the massive Devourer command ship. Around them, Coalition forces fought desperately to keep other enemy ships away from Jake's ship. As they got closer, the Devourer ship's weapons began targeting them. The New Horizon's shields flared and sparked under the assault. "Shields down to 60%, Sam reported. 40%, 20%. "Shields are gone, sir. Hull armor is taking damage." Jake could feel the ship shaking as enemy weapons tore through their defenses. On the view screen, the dark hull of the command ship grew larger and larger. "SciFi, can you get us connected to their systems?" Jake asked. "Yes, but I will need to access their network directly. That means going outside the ship." "That's suicide. The radiation from their ship will kill you in minutes." "Perhaps. But this is how I repay the debt I owe you, Admiral Morrison. You saved my life. Now I save yours." Before Jake could stop him, HFY had left the bridge. Jake watched on the internal monitors as his alien friend put on a radiation suit and moved toward the airlock. "Admiral, we're taking heavy damage," Ben reported. "Hull breaches on decks 3 and 7. "How long until we reach the command ship?" 2 minutes, sir." Jake opened a communication channel to the entire Coalition fleet. "This is Admiral Morrison. In case this doesn't work, I want you all to know that serving with you has been the greatest honor of my life. Humans have learned so much from our alien allies. We've become better than we ever could have been alone." Through his earpiece, he heard responses from dozens of species in dozens of languages, all expressing the same sentiment: honor, friendship, and determination to continue the fight. 1 minute to contact, Ben announced. On the external cameras, Jake could see HFY moving along the hull of the New Horizon, carrying the virus upload device. The radiation from the Devourer ship was already affecting him, but he kept moving toward the connection point. "Admiral," HFY's voice came through the radio, "I want you to know that finding you again has been the greatest gift of my life. My people will remember this day, and they will remember the humans who chose to fight for everyone, not just themselves." "HFY, you don't have to do this." "Yes, I do. Just as you had to save us 15 years ago. Some choices are not really choices at all. They are simply the right thing to do." The New Horizon slammed into the side of the Devourer command ship. The impact threw everyone on the bridge to the floor. Emergency lights flickered as systems failed throughout the ship. "Upload device connected," HFY reported weakly. "Beginning virus transfer now." Jake pulled himself up and looked at the status displays. The virus was copying into the Devourer network, but it would take several minutes to spread through their entire system. "All ships, this is Morrison. The virus is uploading. Maintain distance and prepare for whatever happens next." For long minutes, nothing seemed to change. The Devourer ships continued their attack on the Coalition forces. Jake began to worry that the plan had failed. Then suddenly, the enemy ships stopped firing. One by one, they began shutting down. Their engines died. Their weapons went silent. Their shields collapsed. "Admiral, it's working," Ben shouted. "The virus is spreading through their network. All Devourer ships in the system are going offline." Jake felt relief wash over him, but it was mixed with sadness. "What's HFY's condition?" Lisa checked her medical scanners. "He's alive, but barely. The radiation exposure was severe. I need to get him back inside immediately." The Coalition forces worked quickly to rescue the crew of the New Horizon and capture the disabled Devourer ships. Within hours, the battle was over. The first major victory against the Devourers had been won. 3 months later, Jake sat in a wheelchair in the garden of the Coalition headquarters on the Veltar homeworld. The radiation exposure during the battle had damaged his nervous system, leaving him permanently disabled. But he was alive, and more importantly, the galaxy was safe. The virus had done more than disable the ships in the Barnard star system. It had spread through the entire Devourer network, shutting down their forces across 3 galaxies. The ancient machines that had consumed countless worlds were finally stopped. HFY approached, walking slowly but steadily. His blue skin had a permanent pale tint from the radiation damage, but he had recovered much better than the doctors had expected. "How are you feeling today, my friend?" HFY asked, sitting on a bench beside Jake's wheelchair. "Better than I have any right to," Jake replied. "The doctors say I'm lucky to be alive." "We are all lucky to be alive. The reports from our exploration teams are remarkable. The Devourer machines are not just disabled, they are actually reversing. Their consumption process, planets they had stripped bare are being restored." Jake smiled. "So something good came out of all this after all." "Much good. The coalition remains strong. 31 species working together to explore and protect the galaxy. Trade and cultural exchange are flourishing, and it all began because one human chose to save some alien refugees. You know, I still can't believe that one decision had such huge consequences. But that is exactly why it matters so much," HFY said. "You did not save us because you knew it would lead to this. You saved us simply because it was the right thing to do. That is the true measure of honor." Jake looked out at the garden, where beings from dozens of different worlds were working and playing together. Human children ran alongside young aliens from a half-dozen species. Scientists from different worlds shared discoveries. Military officers from former enemy species planned joint defense strategies. "Do you think it will last?" Jake asked. "This peace between so many different peoples, if it is built on the same foundation as our friendship, then yes. It will last because it is based not on fear or necessity, but on the simple recognition that we are better together than apart." A young human officer approached and saluted. "Admiral Morrison, sir? I'm Lieutenant Ryan Clark. I've been assigned as..."